Hi, Kalen.
Thanks, Dad. My one viewer. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our chat here today about part two of our project called Obscured. We're very excited to have it finally out into the world with its partner, Blur. We're just going to be going through the songs here today and kind of talking about the creation of them and the origin of them.
I just had a turkey sandwich, so I'm sleepy. So if I nod off, don't take it the wrong way.
That's
Okay.
great, Dad.
But this music's it's done. I don't know why we're even talking about it. It's
Yeah,
done.
so you can just stop watching. Just hit the pause button. You can go do your life. It's cool.
All right. First up, am I allowed to say first up?
Yes, you are.
First up is an old Johnny Nash song
Yo, buddy.
because there aren't any new Johnny Nash songs. It's called I Can See Clearly Now. Everybody knows this song.
Everybody knows this song. This song came out in 1971.
Wow, not 1972.
No, are we gonna do that again for this round?
We're gonna do everything again.
You should pick a new year at least.
I like 1972. It was good.
Okay. How old were you in 1972?
That's a personal question. Why don't you just ask me how much I weighed? I was nueve años.
You were 9? Well, you're old. Um, okay. Well, I looked up this song after the fact, as I do. And this one was actually a little bit interesting. Well, the actual meaning of the song, it's very straightforward. It's about people, maintaining a hope and a courage after they've gone through an adverse experience. That's kind of a given. But it said, I didn't know this, maybe you did, but it said that Johnny Nash's arrangement of the song was inspired by reggae largely.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Now, I didn't know that, but as I'm hearing it in my head, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it said that he worked with Bob Marley in the 60s.
And you can hear a little bit of Bob Marley in his voice. That's interesting.
Pretty cool. And then you have our arrangement, which is really not reggae or Johnny Nash.
There's no reggae.
So, do you remember why we picked this song?
You know, it's funny. I always liked this song from my childhood. It was one of those songs. I was nueve, so I heard it a lot. My sister, who is 4 years more than nueve,
Okay.
um, played it. She had a record player. Pretty sure we had the 45 maybe of that song, and my sister Debbie played it over and over and over again. And I just remember, I don't know, it was one of those first songs that kind of stuck in my brain. So I always had an attachment to it. And I think that we were talking about trying to create some trailer music, do something along.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came from. And so when you hear the arrangement, it's like, oh, it's that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of was the development, the birthing.
Yeah. I want to say it was one of the very first covers we ever did. I know Eleanor Rigby was first, but I think this was
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond. Yeah. There's certain songs that are just a little bit more. That you feel a little dirty messing with them. One of them, but yeah, what. But when you listen to it, it's in sections, and I think there used to be 3 sections that were 3 different tempos, not a wide disparity, but just a little faster, a little slower. And then I remember when I was putting the thing together, I didn't like the 3rd tempo. And then when we were in the studio, Ray Brinker, who plays drums, and Doombeck on this one, said, why are we going to that 3rd tempo? Why don't we just go back to the 1st tempo? And I was like, well, because I don't want to go back to the 1st tempo. So anyway, at the time, we decided, let's just try it. And so it ended up being just 2 tempos now. So it's one of those things where you have an idea, and then as soon as you get in the heat of battle with other musicians, and one of them who has a fresh perspective says, "Why are we doing this?" It's very helpful.
Yeah.
So, and consequently, I really like the way that it came out.
Yeah, it progresses all over the place. It goes in so many different directions. Just to the
Yeah, no, I love how the middle of this came out. It's
Yeah.
I can't even explain.
Yeah, it's real something. Yeah, it's another example or another situation where we kind of somewhat used a very stripped down vocal intro, where not a cappella per se, but very close to that.
Right.
And I had a lot of fun, kind of just putting myself out there in the space.
Right, and then the middle part where we do it on just about everything I do with you. We use your voice as an instrument a lot.
Yeah.
And this thing in particular kind of hits it right on the head for anyway, the effectiveness of that mechanism really is, I think it frames things really well in this context. But if you want to know what I'm talking about, you're gonna have to listen to the damn song.
Okay, let's move on to song number 2.
Oh,
What's next?
Superstition.
Superstition. Who in the world sang Superstition originally?
Ooh. One of the most amazing musicians I ever. I'm gonna say this. It's hard for me to say this.
Okay.
Worked with. I got a chance to play with Stevie Wonder a few times.
That's so cool.
And he's one of the special ones where he's amazing, right?
Yeah.
You grow up and it's like Stevie Wonder, and then you see what he does in real life in front of you, and it's God. What God is, there it is. There's God right in front of you. Because it's just all natural. It's a combination of just supreme talent and expertise and practice, and it's hard to explain. But he's literally like a planet. He has this amazing gravitational pull.
Wow.
He even explains.
Superstition was written in 1972.
Boy, it's amazing how we gravitated towards the early 70s.
That's why you love him so much. Just because he actually has a song that came out in your beloved year of 1972.
I was nueve.
You're nueve.
This is one of the other sort of 3-part harmony experimentations.
One of those 3-part harmony songs.
All that being said about Stevie Wonder, we decided to dispense with anything having to do.
Yeah. Goodbye, Stevie Wonder, the planet. You just go over there.
Way out in orbit.
I think that we were able to keep most elements though of the song, which was cool compared to some of the other ones that we've done where we really tear it apart. This one we were like, no, he's God, so we give him a little bit more in this song.
Yeah. And the structure of the song is, there's not a lot, there's not a ton. Like I love taking parts of songs and switching them around like you do. The intro in the middle. I just like doing stuff like that. This you can't really,
it's definitely more of telling the story. So I looked up what Superstition is about, and it's actually pretty straightforward, this one as well. He just talks about various different superstitions that people tend to have, and how he wrote the whole song because he was someone who didn't believe in any of that. He was very against all of that. He thought it was kind of a waste of time, and hence the chorus, when you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer, because there's never going to be any kind of scientific correlation or cause and effect, and you're just going to always be out of your mind.
That statement is way deeper than that too, right? If you believe in things you don't understand.
That is what, yeah.
One of the things that I thought, what would be cool to do on Superstition is the horn parts are really cool, right? I said, let's use Kalen as sort of a horn section. And not typically, but oftentimes when you have an idea like that, once you sort of apply it, it doesn't really work that well. This worked.
Yeah.
the intro of the thing is basically there's a cool horn thing that he puts into the very end on the fade out of the song. And so we actually start this one with that same horn thing sung by you. And then the middle, there's a instrumental section where you do the horn parts there too. So anyway, that was kind of it was one of those ideas like, oh, that'll be cool. And then it ended up working. That doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it was just trying to pace it, because it's kind of, I won't say it's it's repetitious. Everything's repetitious, but there's not like the form of the song sort of creates a bit of repetition, and it's funny because his version of it is so energetic.
Yeah.
That just carries the day. And then when you try to do it like a vibier version, which is what we did, that vibe, can get old quick. So
That's
the real
true.
challenge is trying to maintain that.
Yeah.
Original idea I had for the thing harmonically is still there, but the moving parts inside, I sent it to Paul Viapiano, my co-producer.
Yeah.
He basically took what I sort of had, removed it, and put his own thing in with him playing guitar, acoustic and electric guitar. And it's so much better, and it just adds so much life to it. And then you add, Ray Brinker playing drums, and then suddenly there's this. It just has a lot more impact. So, and in this particular one, in case I'm talking too much, as with many of them, your finished vocal was kind of on there.
So that probably helped to actually play something. That was like Kalen has finalized the performance. So
and that's one thing that it makes such a big difference when you know this as a musician. If you hear something that's inspiring, it makes your job so much easier. And if you hear something that's not, that sounds a little, I don't know, unpleasant or whatever, or unfinished.
Yeah, sounds worse.
Because no matter what you do, it still sounds that way, especially a lead.
Unnatural. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there were a few of them where your voice was sort of mostly done. We may have done a little bit of editing after the fact, but I think that's why it was able to like come to life so quickly.
Yeah, because it was already kind of. Yeah, I gotta say, I love seeing Stevie Wonder. Like, he is just so fun to try to sing some of his runs and things. So it's so much fun. And I know so many songs from him. And I'm glad that you and Mom introduced, his music to Elijah and I when we were growing up. Really early on. Because I know, I've met a few people who were like, who's that? Who's Stevie?
What? Don't tell me that.
So song number 3 on Obscured is Pennies from Heaven.
Not written in 1972.
Hell no. Pennies from Heaven was written in 1936. That's crazy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
By Arthur Johnston and Johnny Burke.
Yeah, man. This song, according to the
It's a Quit Your Whining song.
Quit Your Whining.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Pennies from Heaven, like the actual phrase or imagery, it's a sign of serendipity. So that's what that says. And then it goes on to say, no matter how much it rains, everything turns out okay in the end. So, Quit Your Whining, like adjacent, but...
Yeah, I always heard it as a Quit Your Whining song. Why in the world did we do this song? It was a pandemic thing where a friend reached out and said, hey, I want to do this Zoom performance. I'm thinking of doing this song, or this song, and one of them was Pennies from Heaven. And so I got back to him and said, yeah, are you into doing kind of maybe more of a modern version of Pennies from Heaven? And he's like, sure, that'd be great. So that's kind of where this came from.
And then somehow I got added into it.
Then I actually really liked the way the arrangement came out, and then I changed the key too.
Yeah.
And when I changed the key, it got even funkier.
Yeah. And you were just like, Kalen, here you are.
Yeah. And then I said, here, you do this now. And you
Yeah.
did. And then we added a Salazano careless whisper saxophone solo
Yeah.
into it. And it's like, wow.
Super unexpected, but it's like the little icing on top.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Because it was a pandemic thing, because I was doing it for a friend, I sort of just programmed drums. I never really, it was fine for the Zoom thing, but as like to go on a record, I'm like, I can't do that. So I sent the whole session to my son and your brother,
Yes, Elijah
Patrick Henry III.
He is a closeted musical genius.
He has a very visual sense about music. I don't see pictures like he does. Like he really has music is very visual.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, what would he do to this? So he took a little while and he sent it back to me, and I just had this big smile on my face.
Fantastic what he did.
So cool, and so modern and kind of weird.
Yeah. And he's got a lot of his own music that he's also working on and putting out.
And it's brilliant.
It's amazing, and it was kind of cool though, because what he did for the production of and the programming for this song, you could hear his kind of signature Elijah sounds.
Yeah, right.
That was fun for me to hear that.
And there's this little bass fill I did kind of near the beginning of the song. It's kind of, I always thought, well, I wonder, I should probably re-record that, or
yeah.
I don't know, what's that doing there? And so he sends me the version back, and it's totally, everything stops, and it's just that bass fill.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
And I was horrified. I'm like, no. And then I was like, that actually sounds kind of cool.
I will say I had no concept that this was a song that existed.
So you didn't know anything about this song before you sang it?
No. And someone, I think it was you, when you came to me with the changed key, and you're like, you want to sing this? I'm like, what? Where did this come from? What are we doing? And I learned more about it. But it's a fun song.
Do you remember whose version you listened to when you were learning it? Was it Louis Prima?
I never listened to the original version.
Come on.
I know, isn't that bad? I listened to your friend's version, and I learned that.
Okay.
But the one, and then I think I was living my life, and I bumped into the Louis Prima version.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah, you probably heard it at some point, but just didn't.
I probably did, but
Because everybody, I mean, it's like big giant. Actually, it was one of those tunes as a jazz musician you grow up with, and a lot of instrumentalists like to play it because it's the form and the chord changes are fun. So that's I spent a lot of time with that song.
okay, we got 1 minute left, and we are 3 songs down. We are amazing. Let's keep it up, okay? I'm gonna end the video and make a new one and text you the link.